Batman Begins is a superhero film directed by Christopher Nolan and stars Christian Bale, Michael Caine, and Liam Neeson. And the film tells the origin story of how a young billionaire playboy by the name of Bruce Wayne became Batman. Now, before I continue, I have a bit of history with this film, because when I first saw this film when it first came out in 2005, I absolutely hated it. And while I had no problem with The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, this is the one film that always pissed me off. And when I started planning for my Christopher Nolan movie review series, this was the one film I was not looking forward to reviewing. But after rewatching it so I can prepare for this review, I liked it. I still think Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises is stronger than this film, but this film, for the most part, was good. Although, if I was to rank all the Batman films that have ever come out, this film would probably be at the bottom, because while I liked this film for the most part, there are parts that do stick out. One of the biggest problems with this film is it leaves no impact. With the two sequels that came out after this one, I could remember every single scene that happened in those films. Here, I can barely remember a thing, and that's another problem with this film. It's forgettable. If you were to ask me what my favorite scene was from Batman Begins, I would have a hard time saying what it is, because really none of the scenes really stood out. And yes, while the scenes were good themselves, again, they just didn't leave an impact. So, for the most part, this film is played safe. Like, the film doesn't go all out with its action scenes. The characters, while they are good, are just standard. But honestly, I know why they played it safe, because the last Batman film that came out before this one was Batman and Robin. And if you've ever seen that film, you know how much of a piece of shit film that was, and how that film nearly destroyed Batman. So while this film doesn't go all out to give us an amazing film, they play it safe so they can give us the origin of one of the greatest superheroes of all time. And that's the best way to describe this film. This is an origin film, plain and simple. The entire focus of this film is on Bruce Wayne and how Bruce Wayne takes all the steps to become Batman. And that's one of the things I liked about this film, because this is the first live-action Batman film that shows us the origins of Batman. And while Bruce Wayne and Batman is the focus of this film, and this one character does a good job of carrying the film, ultimately it's not enough. And even the Bruce Wayne Batman character isn't enough to carry this film. For example, the villains in this film aren't all that great. If you look at previous Batman films, both Batman and the villain of that film are able to carry the film together. Here, it's just Batman, and that's not enough. If you look at The Dark Knight, both Batman and the Joker make that film, because with both those characters, we are given great performances, great insight into the characters, and they are both ultimately the saving grace of that film. So unfortunately with Batman Begins, we only have Batman to really carry this film. Because let's face it, Scarecrow and Ra's al Ghul aren't powerful enough to carry the film alongside the Batman character. And let me make it clear, the performances by Cillian Murphy and Liam Neeson are phenomenal. It's just that their characters aren't given enough time and development for us to really get into them. Speaking of characters, one character I've always had the most problem with is the Rachel character. Now, it has nothing to do with the actress. The actress does a good job, it's just the character herself. Both in Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, she just comes off as whiny, complainy, and she gives one of the most BS reasons why she and Bruce Wayne can't be together. The action scenes in this film, for the most part, were good. I do admit, at the start, I didn't like the way they did the fight scenes because you could barely see what is going on. But the more the film went on, the better the action scenes got. One more thing I've got to say before I wrap this review up is the music. The music makes this movie. The music is phenomenal. If you've never heard this music before, take a listen and it will blow your mind. It sounds incredible. Overall, while this film is not as strong as The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises, it's still a good film. And while this film doesn't go all out to try and be an amazing film, it knows what it is, and what it is an origin story. And like I said, while the villain aspect of this film isn't great, the film isn't trying to be about the villains. It's trying to be about the hero. Because this film, plain and simple, is an origin story of Batman. Because in this film, we see the struggles he goes through to try and achieve his goals and try to bring justice to Gotham City, and we definitely see that in this film. So when I first saw this film, I hated it, but after rewatching it now, I loved it. And I'm gonna give Batman Begins an 8 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, be sure to like my Facebook page, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe to my channel below. As always, I'm NETX5. Thank you so much for watching.